And good evening, and welcome to We Believe Digital Studios in Jackson, Mississippi. Welcome to the Sizzling in Mississippi show. My name is Chris Young, and alongside, as always, my co-host Maati, Jone, Primm. Good evening.
Good evening, Chris.
How you rolling with it today?
It's been a great day.
That is wonderful. Monday. It's been a Monday for me, no doubt about it. So we've got a show tonight. We want to share with the viewers, whether you're on WeBelieveDigital.com or YouTube or Facebook. We hope you like our programming on Monday night at 6:30, and we hope you hit the like buttons and share it with your friends and set up your notifications so that you don't miss any episodes. We're trying to do some extra promotion on the YouTube channel so that somehow, some way we can get enough views to get monetized so that the studio can defer some of its expenses. So we certainly, if you're used to watching on Facebook and you wouldn't mind trying to watch on YouTube for a while, we'd certainly appreciate that. And we've really got two main topics tonight to talk about. The first is the garbage contract in Jackson, Mississippi. And the second topic is the what I refer to as the Steel Municipality Power legislation that's now headed to the governor, this HB 1020 and the companion bill, SB 2343, that have received national media attention. This bizarre takeover of this black city by white legislators that are not even remotely close to Hinds County, where we are, but they just cannot abide black leadership.
They won't have it.
The idea of black people advancing in the eyes of the majority of the Mississippi legislature, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. It's on its way to the governor's desk.
Right. Yeah.
And we know what he'll do with it.
Oh, yes.
Because we know about his anti-love for Jackson.
Absolutely. He has stated that.
So we do want to talk about that with you tonight. We've got all kinds of information to share about. We hope that you either call us at 1-800-492-5186 or join us in the chat, and we'd be happy to hear what you have to say. We really want to listen to you. We're trying to form a community here, a community that's based on the truth about how Mississippi is sizzling each and every day. And think about solutions, and think about strategies, and think about, what can we do? Is there anything we can do? Because at on the legislative level, we're so outnumbered. I mean, the truth. We've said this many times before. The black legislators, which are far and away, I mean, 97% plus Democrat,
right? They
don't even need to come to work.
No,
they don't even need to come to work because the Republicans, again, 99% white, they have a supermajority.
They do.
And so what that leaves is the African American people in our state, which is the most highly populated African American state in the nation per capita, also the state with the highest poverty in the nation. That leaves these black Democratic legislators just hoping that one day they can grab a hold of a crumb on a piece of legislation.
Right.
And that's it. And that's really all they're going to get. And we've got a few white brothers over there that are doing the right thing.
Okay.
I never think they do enough,
right.
but they do cast the proper vote.
Right.
So anyway, that's what we're trying to create a community and figure this stuff out. We remember the words, Mississippi Burning. We remember the book, the movie, and here we are with Sizzling in Mississippi. What has changed? and it's just wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. It's unchristian. I can't think of a religion that would support this oppression. And this is what goes on here each and every day. So we need your help, and we want you to be part of a community here that that talks it through, that tells the truth, and maybe on our best day we can come up with a solution that would bring about positive change, because I mean, I've known it the vast majority of my life. God has no stepchildren. We're all God's children, and this oppressive behavior it's just got to cease. We've just got to find a way to leverage to make movement.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. Jim Crow must go.
Jim Crow. It's the same thing. And God bless Senator Edward Blackman from Canton.
Yes.
This is one articulate man, and you know, and he asked these legislators, like, if you will, his colleagues over there. You know, he said something to them about. Well, he asked his assembled people over there, you know, why additional funds could not be transferred to Jackson for additional police officers.
Right.
You got the coffers are full.
Sure.
Well, full of everybody else's money, but
right.
It's in the Mississippi coffers.
Right.
And you know what this Representative Trey Lamar that offered this HB 1020, authored it rather, from 150 miles away from Jackson, stated that Jackson has shown incompetence and cited the water, the sewer, and the garbage.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a tough situation. You know, Senator Blackman said to those people over there, ladies and gentlemen, people have died for the right to vote.
Yes.
That this bill is going to suck people's ability to vote. And he said that he personally has been arrested trying to exercise his right to vote in his younger years.
Yes.
And he paused and he said, I really doubt that any of you have. And what an articulate, intelligent, polite way to speak a thunderous truth.
Yes.
You know, God bless that guy. I've spoke to him a couple of times. I'd love to have lunch with him. Whew.
Yes. Well, you know, it's an attack on Jackson's black leadership.
Yeah.
And it's such that it's really a return to Jim Crow. I think about my grandparents who were born here in Mississippi and what they had to endure. And I'm sure that they thought that when I came along, it would be so very different. But we see that the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
And so with a House bill like 1020, we find that black people are once again disenfranchised.
Yeah.
We have people who are in positions who were not voted upon by the citizens.
Appointed.
But appointed.
Yeah.
By the Supreme Court Chief Justice of Mississippi, as if he represents the people at all.
The white man from Hattiesburg.
Right.
Who's got a long record of letting people know his true colors.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Not surprised from Hattiesburg.
Well, it's bizarre. So we're going to take you through those final engrossed bills, line by line. But first, we want to kick off with this garbage contract, Maati. So, you know, they called another special council meeting on Saturday. Sadly, I wasn't able to be there. My colleague, my publisher, Jackie, was able to be there. So I heard the tape. I know what was said. It's also, if our viewers would like to go to City of Jackson, Mississippi, and when you get to the website, you just click on City Council or Government, I think it says, and then City Council, and just click on meeting agendas and minutes, and when you get there, you'll see a place where you can also click on to see the videos. And you'd be able to watch that video. It was a very short meeting.
Right.
They were trying to silence the crowd. The crowd was, some of the crowd was shouting things at the council people.
Right.
They wanted to shut them down.
They even wanted to remove them.
Remove them, yeah.
And not have
people's house.
Yeah, to have the public not witness firsthand the meeting.
So where we're at right now, there is no for the last year we've been operating under an emergency order that allowed an agreement. Technically, there's no contract with Richards Disposal. The mayor ordered them to work, and God, they went, what was it, 6 to 7
months without pay.
Without pay, and then they finally dialogued that and decided that was against their best interest to not keep doing that.
Right.
So they paid them, but they paid them in installments, like catching up.
Yes.
You know, and this is the black contractor from New Orleans.
Right.
And, you know, we're two people that have our ear to the ground, and we heard all the early on. I mean, it was a cluster. Yes. They didn't have the right routes. The routes had not been updated in the city database because the other company, Waste Management, had the contract so long.
Right.
They were just kind of, they got it. So they, you know, it was so many missed pickups and bad routes and all kinds of things, and they argued over where the trucks were going to be stayed. The list goes on and on. It was a rough start, but you know, probably into the fourth month. By the time the fourth month rolled around, you just heard fewer and fewer complaints.
Right.
By the time the sixth month rolled around, I just don't hear any complaints.
No, I haven't either.
And so what you have is you have a company that's come in here at I don't know, something like 60 some percent of the cost that the other guy was getting.
Yeah.
And they're doing the job.
Right.
And you don't hear the complaints.
And saving the city $1 million per month, and something like $50 million over, or more than $50 million actually over the life of the contract, which would have been 6 years. Right. Yeah,
they talked about 10 years, but then they modified it to 6, I think.
Right. They modified it to 6. And so there we're talking about savings of $72 million, something that Jackson could use to work on other things, such as hiring more police or fixing some of the potholes, this type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen. So anyway, this last Saturday, they did have a vote, and the vote was. And by the way, they had a quorum to have a vote. They had all 7 members there last Saturday. On Thursday, prior to that, they did not. They had 3 people show up. 4 people didn't. 4 of the council members didn't attend the special council meeting.
Right.
And it was talked openly at that meeting that was planned and dialogued, that they would miss that meeting. And so there were only 3 people there. They didn't have a quorum, so no vote was taken, but some discussions were had. But then on Saturday, 2 days ago, all 7 council people were there. They took a vote on this to give Richards the contract. They reminded the council that Waste Management and FCC have backed out. They say they don't want any parts of it unless there's a brand new RFP process.
Right. And
they say if it comes to that, their rates will be higher.
Right.
So
than what they previously bid.
Yeah. And so it was a vote of 3 and 1. 3 voted in favor of awarding a contract for Richards, and Mr. Stokes from Ward 3 abstained from the vote. Interesting.
Do we know why?
Well, no, we don't know why.
Okay.
But we do know that he hasn't done that before with the trash votes.
Okay.
And we do know that the 3 people that voted against had been previously in lockstep, there was a group of them that were all voting the same way every time, no matter what came up.
Right.
Anytime something came up that was not waste management, they got the thumbs down.
Okay.
4-3 vote over and over and over again.
Okay.
So, and one time the council, former council president Virgie Lindsay, who's my ward council person.
Yes.
She's not a fan. I don't think I am either. But anyway, she initially had voted for Richards, but then changed her vote the next time around. Okay. Well, now here we are now, months and months and months later. We could say a year, but it's probably been maybe a tad bit longer than that, than a year. And she's now gone back to being supportive of Richards.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't know why there.
Don't know why that rationale either, but and Mr. Grizel of Ward 4 and Miss Lee, Mrs. Angelique Lee,
yes,
of Ward 2.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that were in favor. Okay. So Mr. Hartley, Mr. Banks, and the current president of the city council, a white Republican in our black city by the name of Ashby Foote, he voted against it. So 3-3-1.
Yeah. So
we have no contract. So there's nobody picking up trash in the Jackson neighborhood. So tomorrow, Monday, today is a big trash pickup day. I was just sitting in on a Zoom call meeting about all this, and they said that Monday is like the biggest, because they have it broken down.
Yes.
But the biggest pickup day becomes Monday.
Wow. Okay.
So, are people bringing it out to the street like they normally do? Are they keeping it inside? They keep it in the backyard? They putting it on the street? What are they doing?
A little bit of everything. Some people even burning trash.
I heard from one of my office mates today. She had driven down Old Canton Road, which would be in Ward, I think 1 and 7, and all kinds of bags of trash out on the street.
That's not good.
That's as of this morning.
Yes, yes. And if they're not following the directions by the city of Jackson as to how to bag your trash,
yeah,
that's going to cause a tremendous problem. One thing, the bags have to be double bagged now, and you need to wash, basically. You need to wash your trash so that you don't have like food residue in it that would be attractive to rodents and flies and such. They also suggested that we pour bleach or ammonia on the trash to repel animals from destructing that. But if you don't do it, then what happens? And if you don't double bag it, it's a problem, and it's only going to get worse until we do have a provider.
That's right. And there are some plans that some council members have been floating. I was in on some phone calls over the weekend that included a council member and some other folks, clergy, and so forth. And there's some plans being talked about, maybe getting some of those long, there might be a better name for this, but like the long bin dumpsters, they bring to construction sites and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe it's not a dumpster, but just a,
I call them dumpsters.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe putting those in the wards, but of course that would mean that the folks actually have to bring their trash to those locations.
Yeah.
There's been talk of demonstrations. And so nobody's really sure at this point. There is a possibility, we can't say certainly, but there is a possibility, we'll know tomorrow for sure, of another special council meeting being called on Wednesday. And I did learn just earlier from coming on the show that in a Zoom call that that a large community organization working together, Jackson, is planning for tomorrow evening a neighborhood walk. They want to fill the neighborhood with people. They want to provide fact sheets to people, let them do some decision making on their own, and see if that can apply a little pressure to the situation.
Sure.
So who knows? But we're running up against our first break, so we're going to bow out for a couple of commercials, and then we'll be right back with you and pick this back up again.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.Dot grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippilink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.
And welcome back to Sizzling in Mississippi. We're so glad you're joining us. One of the many programming opportunities on We Believe Digital. We Believe Digital Studios located here in the heart of the Deep South, Jackson, Mississippi. And we just want to pick up where we left off, talking about this trash contract. And Maati, you've got the fact sheet for just some facts that have been pulled together by a community organization that really kind of paint the picture of what's going on with all this.
Yes, okay. They have listed a number of different items, and one they say is that the request for proposal, which is the bidding process before the council, is the third request for proposal in the process to obtain a new garbage contract.
Mm-hmm.
So
3 times.
They've done this 3 times.
Yeah.
The first was rejected by the mayor as unaffordable, and the second was rejected by the council. The third was changed to meet the concerns of the council. They wanted a 2-day pickup. They wanted a 6-year contract instead of a 10-year contract, and a blind process. And I imagine that would be a blind process in determining which provider would be chosen.
The names were kept were kept hidden.
Okay.
Even from the administration, they had 2 people that apparently. So the information is put in a database, and there's no names attached.
Okay, all right. Richard's disposal was the lowest bid and would save the city 32% over the other bids, a savings of $2 a week to customers.
Yeah.
They also said that the state law requires the council to approve the lowest bid unless they can demonstrate legal reasons not to do so.
And that was a real point of contention in the earlier votes, because many of the council members that were voting against Richard's disposal, clearly the lowest bid, were saying that the state law required it to be the best and lowest bid. Well, come to find out, that's misinformation. It's not. It's the lowest bid, and then if you have contention about the quality of the bid or something like that on a legal basis, there's a methodology that they can use to attempt to bring that forward. They've never once done that.
Okay. I'm wondering what sort of legal concerns would there be on that, but perhaps we'll find out at some point. The council majority never produced legal reasonings, for not accepting Richard's contract. Interesting.
Right.
The council questioned the capacity of Richards to deliver the service.
Right.
I remember that early on. Richards has demonstrated their capacity to deliver service to the city over the past year. Mm-hmm. Richards has hired 80 Jackson residents and are paying a living wage. In the current debate, several council members have asked the administration to move to the next available vendor. There is no next available vendor. The other 2 vendors have withdrawn their bids and say that a new bid would cost the city more money. Richards is the only vendor left and the only vendor willing to honor their previous price.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was talk on the Zoom call about adding some things to that, and then being able to distribute that fact sheet in the neighborhood tomorrow.
Wow. Okay.
Focusing on Ward 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So the heart of a combination downtown, midtown.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting how all that rolls out. And then if they do have the special council meeting on Wednesday, will anybody have changed their mind when they see trash piling up?
I don't know if that's enough trash.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is either.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, it would be nice how they sometimes will do some local programming and take a half hour or an hour to really explain both sides and what are the bones of contention, what has Richards achieved since having the service, being allowed to service Jackson, and just comparing the two and seeing what would actually be best for Jackson. And it would be lovely if it were a ballot initiative so that the people could really decide.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if I was the president of the council.
Yes.
Now this is fiction now, because this could never possibly happen because of a lot of reasons. But if I was the president of the council and my city was about to lose its trash pickup services and no definitive path ahead, I would be going to the local TV stations and talking to the residents about that and explaining why exactly is this and what's getting in the way and what we could do, what are our options. That's what I would be doing. But they like to do it in little tiny sound bites, right before or right after the meetings.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have a problem with that. That's why I was saying I would really like to have it fleshed out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all of the concerns. And
Ideally,
put it on a local a news station and have them to cover it and really explain both sides.
Yeah, that's tough. I know the Clarion Ledger, what was that, about 10 days or so ago? Clarion Ledger did a very comprehensive article, and for the first time ever, exposed to the public the actual costs, the actual bids that were submitted by the 3 different vendors.
Okay.
And again, clear and away, you could see how much less expensive the Richards bid was.
Yeah.
So, we've got we're almost halfway through this segment, and it might be too much to open up in a 3-minute span of time, but it just seems to me there's just so much infighting down there at City Hall. It seems like the mayor and the majority of the council don't get along well. They don't play well together.
Right.
And so it almost seems to me, but you've been here longer than me, so my perspective may be way off base, but it seems to me like, reading between the lines, like it's an anti-mayor versus a pro what's best for the city.
Okay.
I really do believe that the mayor tries to hold the line. I know he's young. I know some people view him as kind of militant, but I don't see it that way. And that's one of the first things people bring up, and I don't like hearing all that. But it seems to me like he tries to hold the line. I'm not saying he doesn't make mistakes. I'm not saying he's perfect or anything like that. But it does seem to me like he tries to hold the line. Yeah. And then I see certain members of the council. It just seems like their goal is just to trip the mayor up, rather than their goal being to do what's best for the city. That's an impression I have.
Sure.
Do you have any thoughts, broad, general perspective on that? Or?
Well, when the mayor's father was mayor, or when he became mayor, there were a lot of high hopes for Jackson, really around the country, because it addressed something that had long been hoped for, and that was the Republic of New Africa to have a capital. And when Mayor Lumumba was elected, then at that point, Jackson was named the capital of the Republic of New Africa. And what it meant was not a takeover of Jackson, but an acknowledgement of the power of the people to choose, an acknowledgement of self-awareness, an ability to, or the capacity to show how Jackson could move up in a way that benefited its citizens, in a very meaningful way, being that the overwhelming majority of Jackson is black. And so for once we could have a city that would be a great example of how we could bring together different entities and different forces, because Mayor Lumumba was not ignoring the white population, but including the black population in terms of decision making and care. And 7 months later, he's gone. He's gone. And and it seems rather strange the way that he perished. And then when his son came along, his son said, well, I will take up, my father's initiatives. And it's been met with a lot of challenges.
Everywhere he turns. Everywhere he turns. And, another thing, Maati, about all this, who loves it best when Jackson falls on its sword, the water system collapses, the sewer system, and now this trash thing. We all know who loves that the best. Right. People like Trey Lamar. That's right. Who are just sitting, waiting for an opportunity to come in, take to power. A divided house, steal power. Just wait till their enemy. Wait till the oppressor's enemy is stumbling or wounded in some way, and then pounce. And that's what they're doing. totally discounting the decades of neglect to the city itself.
Right. 50 years of neglect.
Yeah.
And then they want to criticize the current mayor, who isn't even 50 years old.
Right.
So,
he just turned 40.
Yes.
Just had his 10th anniversary, by the way, last week.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, we thank you so much for hearing us out on that garbage contract. We hope it's useful information to you. I don't have the phone handy to see the chat right now, but see what's going on in the chat. But we're going to shift gears into these theft bills. Stealing municipality power, usurping voter rights bills that everybody and their brother all around this country and beyond. I mean, I've seen articles from Europe where they're talking about HB 1020 and they're trying to take power away from the black residents of Jackson, Mississippi. Yes. So the short skinny on the HB 1020 is that last Thursday it passed the Senate. There's, the bill started out 1,040 pages long, and now it's down to 15 pages long, and I have it right here. It's 15 pages long, but we'll just show you. What is in there, because it passed the Senate on Thursday and then passed the House on Friday. So this is what HB 1020 does, and it's on its way to the governor's desk right now. And if it's signed into law by the governor, it will become effective 86 days from now, less than 90 days from now, on July 1st. It creates a separate judicial district for the Capitol Complex Improvement District, creating a new court system, and with 4 judges that are appointed by, as we were saying earlier, appointed by the Chief Justice of the Mississippi Supreme Court, a white man from Hattiesburg.
Right. Who is not a Jacksonian.
Not a Jacksonian. So. And it creates a separate law enforcement district, which we're already seeing the very beginnings of that, but that's going to expand, as you'll see as we go further into this. Further
endangering black people.
And think of this next item, Maati. With this bill being signed, if this bill is signed into law, the Department of Public Safety on July 1st. The Department of Public Safety, so whenever I say Department of Public Safety, I'm saying Capitol Police.
Yes.
Can now send misdemeanor cases that do have jail time attached to them, but they're a misdemeanor.
Yes.
So it's short periods of time. This will allow those offenders to be sent to prison.
Misdemeanor anywhere else has jail time at maximum.
That's right.
Not prison.
That's right.
See, this is 1964 all over again.
That's right.
Disturbing the Peace got the Freedom Riders and the Freedom Summer volunteers. Actually, in '64, the Freedom Summer volunteers, time and parchment, and the Freedom Riders in 1961, time and parchment.
Yeah.
Actually, I should say that was the Freedom Riders. By '64, they just started murdering people like James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, and Mickey Schroeder.
Right.
So. Yeah.
And can you think of another city? I mean, can you think of another city where this kind of stuff is going on, where a separate judicial district is being put in that really covers the part of Jackson that's about ultimately about a 50-50 split between white and black.
Right.
When overall the city the numbers vary from time to time, but we can safely say 82% plus black city, but they're going to put in a special court system, a special judicial district for the part of Jackson that's 50-50.
Yeah. You know, Trey Lamar from Senatobia, up near Memphis, a suburb of Memphis, took great offense to the black legislators questioning his motives.
Yeah.
And I want to say that if you care so much, if the blood in your veins is as red as the blood in my veins, maybe you might want to think about Taylorsville.
Yeah.
A place that perhaps someone should have some type of judicial review on how they handle cases in Taylorsville.
Yeah.
How does the police department answer citizens who are in duress, who are in fear for their lives? What are you saying about that, Trey Lamar? What are you saying about money that's needed for Jackson being siphoned off to the CCID and Jackson losing further revenue, especially a higher revenue sources on the north side of Jackson than on the south side or the west side?
Yeah. So I gather you don't think that Lamar really cares about Jackson getting neglected funding or unaccounted for lynchings in Taylorsville or 6 white agents storming into a house in Rankin County and putting guns in people's mouths.
Yeah.
Intimidating them.
And shooting people in the throat.
Well, not just people, black people.
Black men, a black man, Jalen Lewis, being
That's right.
murdered by the Capitol Police.
So you don't think he's particularly concerned about that, but he's concerned about Jackson.
Right. But he doesn't mention them, is what I'm noticing. Yeah. So he talks about Jackson and shortcomings of Jackson, but so-called shortcomings of Jackson.
Right.
But his solution is to disempower Jackson.
That's right. And with no dialogue.
No, doesn't have to. See, Jim Crow doesn't have to ask its black citizens what they think.
No. And supposedly these changes that we've been discussing here with HB 1020, a bill that's on its way to the governor's desk, these judges this would start in July, but these judges would only serve through 2026. But it's absolutely unclear from the text of the bill what would happen after that.
Yes.
So we just don't know. And we do know from this bill that the Capitol Police would have primary jurisdiction within the Capitol Complex Improvement District and secondary jurisdiction throughout all of Jackson. A special police force that started out, as like little beat cops walking around the Capitol, making sure the Capitol building itself stayed safe. Now they're getting free reign over the city. And we're really wrapping up on this segment, so we'll pick up right there when we come back, and we're just going to stop for a couple quick commercials.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
The Mississippi Link is an African American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Welcome back to Sizzling in Mississippi. We're so glad you're joining us. We're just now getting a hold of the good look at what's going on in the chat. We thank you so much for your comments. And Maati's looking over the comments right now. We told you earlier the main items in this HB 1020, again, create a separate judicial district with appointed people rather than elected people. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen as soon as that gets signed into law. And also sending misdemeanor cases to prison as opposed to jail time. Not saying they're going to do that every time, but they have the ability to do that every time, like the Trojan horse getting inside the door. So, and the jurisdiction, they're planting the seed for Capitol Police to have primary jurisdiction sooner or later over the entire city by letting them in smaller and smaller amounts now, mincing a few little words here and there to satisfy people. There's one other thing about this HB 1020 that did catch my eye, and that is that every single black lawmaker in both chambers voted against the bill. This is according to a report by Bobby Harrison in Mississippi Today. He said that every black lawmaker in both chambers voted against this bill except Angela Cockerham of Magnolia, who is an independent.
Right.
And so that, I find that to be very, very interesting. That, do you mean there's no white people over there that are saying to themselves, hey, wait a minute, every single one of our black brethren is going against this. Maybe we should pump the brakes here a minute and look closer in dialogue with them. What are we missing?
Right.
Because it shouldn't be all of them against it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The supermajority, it just doesn't happen. They don't, which means they don't really care.
Right. It's condescending action.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry your pretty little head, Jackson.
Yeah.
You can't solve your own issues, and we'll just take over. Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. And let's just move on to the companion bill, and then maybe we can start to, if there's any questions in the chat or whatever, or do you want to do some of that now?
Well, it just, there's one from Ms. Jones that says, Chris Young, I agree with your perspective of the council's anti-mayor action. They seem oppositional for everything about anything, just because they have personal egos above the well-being of the residents. Now, we also heard from a Mr. Williams who says that bickering between the mayor and the city council members are going to cost the citizens of Jackson money with the back and forth with lawsuits against each other. The board of supervisors are the same way, a bunch of infighting.
And we know Mr. Williams, and I know Mr. Williams knows this because we've talked about it on the Newsbreak show, and I believe we've talked about it on this show when we first got started, but the last number I saw in print, it had gone up to $380,000 in legal expenses over this trash contract, and that was before that Special Justice Jess Dickinson ruling, which was back in July of last year.
Right.
It had gone up to $380,000, which, I mean, that's taxpayer money, just trying to settle disputes, you know. So, you know, I'm not an arithmetic guy, but you know, is it twice that amount now? Is it approaching $1 million now that they've paid out?
I have no idea, but I know that even with $300,000, I think about what we could have spent that on.
You think we could fill a pothole or two?
We could fill quite a few.
Get some raw sewage out of the playground.
Right. Clean up some yards and
fix the air conditioning in the flagship library of the city of Jackson.
Right.
So that they don't have to close it, because the law says if it's over 80 degrees, they got to close it. They send the employees to another location.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah. Buy more books for the library.
I like that. You need to run for council.
I don't think so.
Maati. Viewers, I think we have a prospective council member sitting right next to me right now. We would love to hear your thoughts on that, because I think it's a man. Why didn't I ever think of that before?
I don't know, Chris. Senate bill.
I'm sorry. I never would ever want to embarrass you. Yeah, the companion bill, the Senate bill 2343. So these are like this, right? They go together, called a companion bill. So real quick, here's the deal on this. This is pulling directly out of these texts. These are the 5 pages for the Senate bill 2343, and it says this. And not all these things are directly connected, but boy, oh boy, when you just close your eyes and listen, you know, you're going to see how connected it is. The Department of Public Safety, and this, by the way, would go into effect if this becomes law. This would go into effect January 1st of next year. January 1st of next year. DPS, through the Office of Capitol Police, will have jurisdiction to enforce laws on state properties in any area connected, any area of the city that's connected to a state property. Capitol Police has precedence. There also, people can contract with DPS for security. Now listen carefully to that one. People can contract with Department of Public Safety for security, and then they list specific places, like they need security at the Board of Trustees, state institutions of higher learning. Can do a contract with DPS. Now who's going to be fulfilling that contract? And then moonlighting, you know.
Yes.
And these guys are already getting paid more than the
Jackson Police.
And the Department of Agriculture buildings, the Farmers Market, the Mississippi Fairgrounds Complex, Department of Revenue, ABC. These are all listed in the actual text of this bill. All these specific places are actually listed in there. Why are they doing that? Why are they listing specific places? Don't you think there's a reason for that? I think there's a reason for that, because they're locking in a foothold and they lay out some broad stuff, but then they lock in footholds on different things. This is what these people are doing. These people have no intention of backing down. They're just getting started. You wait till next session.
Yeah.
You know, DPS will have jurisdiction within the boundaries of CCID, and underlined in the bill, the only thing, friends, the only thing on these 5 pages that is underlined. No, I'm sorry. There is another section that's underlined also. So I guess when I was reviewing that, I thought it was the only one. But definitely underlined in the bill, DPS will have jurisdiction within the boundaries of the city of Jackson. So in the other bill, they called it secondary jurisdiction, JPD having primary jurisdiction. Over here, they say it's within the boundaries of the city of Jackson. They will have jurisdiction. So once again, you see what's going on. Enter into a memorandum of understanding, and if not, If we can't come to an agreement, guess what? DPS has jurisdiction. There you go. There's your ace in the hole. Also, now we're just switching gears, but we're still talking about oppression. Maati, written authorization of the Capitol Police Chief, Bo
Lucky.
Crow Bo, or the Commissioner, prior to approval of any event taking place on any street or sidewalk immediately adjacent to state property.
So that controls Ferris Street District.
Adjacent. Is there a state building on Fair Street?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
There's and there's and then also just around the corner too. So.
Well, yeah, right around the corner, a whole bunch.
Right.
Now, folks, I got a quick question to ask you, and I would love to take credit. Cannot do it. Came from my publisher, Jackie. Her brain is just, But do you know how big the permit is to demonstrate, to protest, to gather outside the White House in Washington, D.C.? I didn't know either. There is none. First come, first serve. Don't be attaching yourself to the fence. Don't be hanging yourself on the fence.
Right.
Don't be climbing the fence.
Don't climb.
Because Secret Service owns the fence.
Yeah.
Can't be messing with the fence.
Right.
But outside that fence, and we see it all the time on TV, no permit required.
Yeah.
But here in Jackson, Mississippi, an 80+% black city, draws massive attention of these white oppressors, and now they're going to make you get prior approval of any event taking place on any street or sidewalk immediately adjacent to state property. Also, DPS contract with any county for county to take custody of misdemeanor offenders arrested. So remember, we said earlier in 1020 that they would have the ability to put people in prison for misdemeanors, offenders that were carrying jail time. But now you shift over to the companion bill and you see, well, they can contract with counties. But see, you got it covered up here on this first one, what you really want to do, put people in prison.
Right.
And more people in prison, less people voting, less power in the city, etc. And then, but now they say contracts can be established with any county. So let's see if there's going to be a contract with Hinds County or with Rankin County, who likes to chase people into Hinds County.
Right.
Let's see if there's going to be contracts.
Right. But I mean, I wonder, does it have to be that close, or can something like Horn Lake or Senatobia get a contract and therefore added revenue to Trey Lamar's people?
So you think they've got offenders up there in Horn Lake?
Well, whether they do or not, I'm wondering if they'll move any of the misdemeanor offenses to Horn Lake and Senatobia.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing for him on his resume.
Yes, it would.
The last item on SB 2343 is that talks about employees and all forms of accrued leave, the various forms of accrued leave, whatever it is, from FEMLA to personal leave to sick leave, whatever, will transfer with any employee that transfers from DFA, because that's what these guys are under now.
Okay.
But they're going to shift it all to DPS.
Okay.
So they want to make sure that they're taking care of these employees.
Sure.
That they don't lose their leave if they get transferred, and probably the commissioner himself and all his lieutenants and all that.
Provides incentive to move. To transfer.
So there you have it. That's what the deal is with those two bills. It's how many months have we been talking about this? I mean, it first came up in mid-December, late December. Talking, and then it seemed like within the first 7 days of the legislature opening,
yes.
It's like January 3rd or 4th, something like that.
Right.
Then it was on full tilt.
Right.
and within days, you had I want to say it was like the 19th or the 20th, but I may have that confused with the day that Shuwaski Young identified himself as a candidate for
governor,
for Secretary of State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the South Capitol steps were packed for a press conference and a rally. And the Mississippi Center for Justice attorney Rob McDuff, who I know you know personally, that's helped many people get their righteousness in their out of their ugly situations. He said, let's just keep this simple. These things pass. We'll see in court. So there's we have no doubt in our minds that there will be lawsuits filed if these are signed. They could be being signed right now by the governor. We have no idea. Don't know that process. But Friday, apparently, they worked through the night. I know Bobby Harrison's article in Mississippi Today came out, in the evening on Friday. So I think it had been settled by that time. So I don't know. Is the legislation on the governor's desk now? Will it be there tomorrow? Will it be there the next day? I don't have the answer to that. So that's what's going on with all that, and it just makes me sad because there's no dialogue. There's no, and they all want to say, oh, Jackson's my city too. Senatobia, Gulfport, Meridian, Natchez, right. They all want to say, Jackson's my capital too.
Yeah.
Well, technically it is.
Okay.
But
they don't live here.
Were you here handing out water?
Yeah.
Were you here fixing pipes or?
No.
And so it just hurts your heart because, like a couple of months ago, my neighbor in my building, one of the units in my building, he saw me out back having a first morning cigarette, a cup of coffee, and he said, "Hey, any chance you got cables? Could give me a jump." Did I feel like giving this guy a jump at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning?
No.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Guess what?
You did.
It's my neighbor.
Right.
He's got a kid. I know he brings a kid to school.
Yeah.
And so him and his wife, it happened again about 3 days later. Only this time he had his own cables.
Okay.
But I helped him get the car jump start. That's what you do with your neighbor. That's what you do.
Right. Yeah.
These people don't operate like that.
No.
You said it before. With Jim Crow, you don't.
Yeah, Jim Crow must go because they're not trying to help Jackson. That's the least of their concerns.
Yeah.
They don't care about Jackson. They simply want to milk Jackson for its tax revenues, and they want to disempower the administrations and its citizens. Citizens aren't allowed to vote on what judges will get.
Yeah.
It'll be appointed by a white man from Hattiesburg, and which is really an enclave of white supremacy, and we're just out here voiceless and powerless.
And they want the assets. They're still fighting over the airport, Maati.
Yeah, they are.
They're still fighting over the airport.
They're not going to give a fighting about the airport until they get it, or at least have all of the land surrounding the airport.
The school system, the water system.
Right. Critical race theory. They haven't taught our children anything. They don't know black history from a hole in the wall. They have no clue.
Well, we're really winding down on the time. Did you have any final thoughts you wanted to share before we head out?
I think that everyone should be concerned about what's going on here in Jackson, whether they're in Jackson or any place else in Mississippi or in the country, because so goes Jackson, so goes the rest of Mississippi. This is just step one.
Step one. So sad. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And here it is Monday. We're into the month of April. It's 85, 88, 85 degrees out there today. I'm like, oh my God, it's not June or July already, but we thank you for taking time and tuning in. Hope you like the show. Hope you'll set a notification for it. Share it with your friends. We want to increase our viewership. We think we're doing a good thing here, and we want to keep doing it. We want to reach as many people as possible because we believe, I can say we believe, that this, can be a vehicle for change. That's what this show is really all about, hoping to be a vehicle for change. So thank you again so much, and have the best week possible. Take care of yourselves and everybody else. Stay safe out there.